What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel and now welcome back. And you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed unless, of course, there's something wrong with your taste level just lacking. Okay, and if that's the case, it's okay. We all got something wrong with us. Everybody ain't able. And with that being said, everyone else, hello. I hope you guys are having a great week and that you are in great spirits. And if not, you are in better spirits after you leave this video. I just got out of the shower. I just washed my hair and I put this on. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and film right quick. Then I'll worry about my hair. So don't judge me. And as you can tell by the title of this video, we are getting into the true crime that Shannade Clermont committed. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the Clermont twins, here they are. Well, this is the current version of them. And I'm not shaming how they look. The thing is, I am for autonomy for real, for real. Like whatever you want to do, however you want to express yourself, your body, your choice. So I am not one of the people that shade them for making these changes to themselves at all, but I know that's a common thing. Anyway, they were on the Bad Girls Club season 14, and since then they've become, I guess, influencers, models. We're gonna get into all of that, as well as what one of them did that required them to be hauled off to jail for a while. So let's start at the beginning. The twins, Shannon and Shannade Clermont, were born March 21st, 1994 in Montclair, New Jersey. They are the youngest of 5 total siblings. Their father owned a moving company. He's Haitian, their mother is Jamaican, and she was the runner of a daycare. They have an older sister and 2 older brothers. Now, you know that twin telepathy, that whole thing where twins are just like so in sync, they're practically the same person, or share a soul, they say, when twins are super close. That's the twins that they were. Very close, just like this from the very beginning of life. When the twins are 9 years old, their family relocates to Dallas, Georgia. Now, very early on, the twins were interested in the fashion world. They wanted to model. And they have this aunt who was also very into fashion. She would make her own clothes that she personally designed herself. And the twins always thought this was really cool. She would take them to fashion shows and share with them all of these, you know, new cool things that she had designed and created herself. By the age of 14, Auntie had gotten them into their very first fashion show, and this really just solidifies their interest. They spend the next 2 years of their lives really just 100% focused on breaking into the industry. They're trying to make connections with anybody that could potentially help them down the line, and their auntie really supports this, but their parents are like, you know, well, hold on, let's just make sure we stay in school. That's a priority, which they do, but they are also able to land a few more gigs, one of them being Teen Hair magazine, and they also land a few gigs in the Bronner's Brothers hair shows. Now, the twins do complete high school and take their academics seriously, but after high school, they don't immediately go into college or university. By now, they've been around quite a few industry people. They've been to several events, and their likeness has appealed to several top artists, landing them gigs alongside the likes of Nicki Minaj and Future. They participate in live performances and music videos, and this leads them to land a contract to attend a modeling school for 6 months that would then enable them to be entered into a database for agency castings. And with this agency, they do get a couple of appearances on TV shows. Nothing that has some sentences or some lines, I don't think, just like some cameos in the background. Some extras. Both twins are offered a full ride scholarship to a school in Georgia, but honey, Georgia, they felt they had outgrown. It was not where they wanted to be at all. They are thinking more like the big city of New York. Both girls attend fashion institutes and graduate in 2016. But the year before they graduated college, they had joined the cast of a very popular reality TV show at the time, the Bad Girls Club, which was then at season 14. Now, long story short, the girls come into the house with their little dyed dogs, one red, one blue. Their whole like persona was just like, oh, I'm very, you know, I think I'm all of that. We're cute. We're that bitch. That was like their little catchphrase. I personally like them. However, I can see how their like super arrogant demeanor kind of maybe rubbed the girls the wrong way. Some of the viewers as well. From my recollection, I don't think many of the girls liked them from like day one. But there was one girl in the house, Jayla, is it Jayla, that they do like mesh well with, and so they become this like threesome. They're always hanging out. The rest of the house hates them. And one evening, Jayla and the twins go out to the club. They return home and all of their belongings have been like thrown out into the yard. They got pennies hanging from the trees. And the twins bought a lot of designer things into the house. A lot of YSL, a lot of Prada. Okay, a lot of Gucci, Fendi, all the girls, a lot of expensive makeup. All of their makeup was taken into this big bathtub, filled up a little bit with water, makeup thrown in, shoes thrown in, and then ketchup squirted on the top. It was horrible. Not to mention, when they get into the house, the other girls that have been there all night and had done this were waiting for them and ready to fight. Like they were squaring up, like they wanted to tussle. Definitely gave hater, in my opinion. Now, they didn't get into a physical altercation from my recollection. I know the twins went upstairs, they were yelling. They started throwing stuff around the house, and then they verbally threatened the other girls in the house to fight them. And because they verbally threatened the girls that were standing there ready to tussle with their arms folded when they came in the house and had destroyed all of their things, production told them that they had to leave the house. Like that night, they had to pack their things, the things that are hanging everywhere and destroyed, pack those things, whatever they could, I guess, salvage from the mess. And they have to leave the house that night. They had to go. By that point, they had only made it like halfway through the season. So that I don't confuse y'all, I'm just going to refer to the one twin that committed the crime by name, and then the other one is just going to have to be her sister, because we're really talking about Shannade here. So according to Shannade and her double, they had tried to leave the house like 2 nights before this night. And production had talked them into staying. They were like, please, no, don't go, stay, try to work it out, try to make it work. And the twins felt like it was just too toxic of an environment. They didn't like it. But production was able to talk them into staying. And they believe production was behind their things being trashed just 2 nights later to make for good TV. So they filed a lawsuit against the show, which I was not able to find the documents pertaining to the lawsuit, which is not surprising. But I heard that prior to even entering the house, I don't know if anything was signed, but there was an agreement of some kind that their physical belongings would not be destroyed because they was coming into the house with a bunch of expensive things. Whether that was a thing or not, the twins do win their lawsuit, hence why Bad Girls Club is no more. Now, their intentions for the show was to gain exposure because, of course, like I said, they're trying to model, do the industry things. But leaving the show earlier than expected kind of threw a wrench in that plan. So now they are forced with the task of getting themselves out there. The show is giving them a little head start, but now it's on them. They make an account that they share called Clermont Twins across all social media platforms and begin building up their audience. And their account goes viral for 2 main reasons. One, the girls are starting to look noticeably different. And it's like with each post almost, they're looking more and more different. Of course, looks are subjective, but the general consensus was that the girls were very beautiful to start with. Like, I thought so, and a lot of other people thought so too. So a lot of people didn't understand why they would try to change their look in the first place. And the changes, they were a little drastic, But like I said, to each their own, and I mean that when I say it. And the second reason is because sometimes their content teeters the line of incest. They called it art, but it's a little incesty, just a little bit. Here they are pressing their tongues and bare tatas together. Now the thing is, I got a couple sisters, okay, but I'm not pressing my tongue against their tongue, my teeth against theirs, okay? It's just not happening. That's just me and my siblings, though. Their exit from the show was a big thing. So the attention from that and these questionable poses, they get the attention of not only the millions of followers that they get that are everyday people like you and I, they also get the attention of people like Kanye and Kim. They're hired for a lot of Yeezy shows and a lot of Yeezy campaigns. And this was around 2018. It further catapults their career. Even Kim used them for some Skims campaigns. Now, at the top of it all, when they have reached the peak of the success that they have seen thus far, unfortunately for them, their world comes crumbling down when an aspect of their personal lives, or at least Shannade's personal life, becomes public, and Shannade becomes a wanted woman by the state of New York. Now, February 1st of 2017, 42-year-old real estate agent James, I believe his last name is pronounced Alessi, that's what I'm gonna call him. He is found dead inside of his New York apartment in Manhattan at 9:26 a.m. Now, during their investigation, police learned that James had a visitor the night before. He had made arrangements to pay for a little sex from a woman who had identified herself to the doorman as Aubrey. And according to this doorman, Aubrey had arrived to the apartment building around 6 p.m. that night before. He describes Aubrey as a black woman who has long brown hair, looks to be between the ages of 25 and 30, and is about 5 feet 11 inches tall. Not the twins being taller than me, my goodness. He also notes that he had spoken to James, and James was alive and well right before the woman had arrived. So next they take a look at James's cell phone activity to see the exchange between he and Aubrey that evening. And if they can kind of, put together the pieces of what had transpired between her arrival and his dear departure around 9:26 a.m. Now, shortly before his company had arrived at 4 p.m., a text thread had begun between he and Aubrey, with him saying, "What do you want to do?" And Aubrey responds to that with, "I want to see you for the amount that we agreed on, so you tell me." Now, when James doesn't respond, she follows up with, "Let's do 400. James responds to her with, "Oh yeah, question mark." And then he sends another text asking, "How far are you from 53rd and 2nd? Aubrey sends a message letting him know her location and asks, "Does 7:30 work?" He says, "Maybe just come over now. Don't have to get all dressed up." And she says, "Okay, I'll be there at around 5:15 XO. And James then hits her with, "Okay, I'm a cool dude. You'll have fun. What type of booze do you like? Wine?" She says, "Wine works. What's your address?" Sounds like mama was just trying to get to business, okay? She like, "You ain't got to wine me or dime me. Just 69 me." James lets her know the address, the apartment number. She says, "Okay, babe. We'll let you know when I'm on my way XO. And then he texts, quote, "Can you send another faceplate pic, fave pic? You deleted me on the site." Chill. What site? Because I'm just playing. I ain't got no coochie to sell. She sends him a photo. He doesn't respond. And then a little bit later, she sends another text. "Just got in an Uber. See you in 10 XO. Now, it does not take them long at all to trace the origins of Aubrey's cell phone and find out that James had actually been talking to Shannade Clermont. And this had been her cell phone number since 2012. So there was no denying it. Police also obtained the surveillance footage from his apartment building, and the description that was given by the doorman also matches the online photos of Shannade Clermont, which they've looked at by now. She can be seen entering the apartment building at approximately 5:30 p.m. and leaving a little bit over 3 hours later at 8:50 p.m. She looks absolutely calm when she arrives, and she looks calm when she leaves. James's COD comes back and is revealed to have been the result of an apparent overdose. One caused by a combination of the drugs that I'll put on the screen, because one, I don't know, YouTube be acting crazy and I can't pronounce them all. I'm gonna keep it real. And officers who responded to the scene initially, they noticed a couple of things that were a little bit odd. His wallet, they find it tucked inside of a cabinet in the kitchen. And inside of the wallet, they find a debit card ending in 3481 that belongs to James. Going forward, I'll refer to this as card 1. And then they find a second debit card inside of his wallet ending in 5307, also belonging to James. And Shaw, just because I'm a little bit messy, I'm going to mention that they did find a prophylactic on the side of the bed that was used and broken. On a nightstand, there's a clear baggie with a white powdery substance. We know what that is. There was also a rolled up dollar bill on the table beside it. And then inside of another cabinet, there were 2 additional baggies and some pills that tested positive for fentanyl. Now, Shannade is not wanted in connection with his death because they don't believe that there was any foul play. She is wanted for collecting the card information off of both of his debit cards and swiping them mercilessly over the next couple months. And she doesn't start using the cards until a month and a half after his death. On March 15th, she purchases 2 plane tickets for $324.36. Each of the tickets are for travel from Toronto, Canada to Newark, New Jersey. And she purchases the plane tickets using her actual email address, Shannade Clermont at whatever email company she was using, and they're able to see that this account has been active and used by her since July 12th of 2011. 10 days after she had purchased the plane tickets, on March 25th, she uses card 1 to go do some online shopping at a luxury store, and she spends $552.10. And 4 days after this, she uses that same card 1, for the same purpose at the same retailer for $447.83. On this same day, March 29th, she pulls out card 2 to pay her phone bill. That was $125.27. And James's name is used as the billing name for the transaction. 2 days after this, on March 31st, she pulls out card 1 again. This time she pays her rent in the amount of $1,441.30. A lot cheaper than I expected her apartment in New York to be in 2017. But what do I know, child? I ain't never even been to New York. Now, April 1st, she got a little bit happy with the card. She makes multiple online purchases at another luxury retailer, and this stuff is to be shipped to her. She enters her own address and full name as the recipient of the order. And of course, she has to give James's first and last name as the billing name, because of course that's the name that's on the card. And the email that she gives them as the customer email this time is not the one of her first and last name. It's just Aubrey.cl. Now they got to digging into this email address, and they find that Aubrey.cl was created on November 19th of 2012. And the recovery email that she put in to link to the account in the event that, she lost her password was that first email address that has Shannade Clermont at whatever.com. So definitively, they're able to determine this is all her workings, right? Shannade does a bit more online shopping at an unspecified retailer, and this was later on that same day. And then a couple days later, on April 3rd, Shannade whips out that card to charge it again. This time to purchase clothing totaling approximately $2,000. And just as the last shopping spree, this is an online order to be shipped to her home address, her first and last name as the receiver, but she used a different customer email address this time, but it wasn't that far off, child. This one is Claire's, CLERS 947, which is very close to Clermont, the last name. Like, girl, where is the creativity? I thought scammers was creative, girl. Maybe it's the levels to it. Maybe she just wasn't that good of a scammer. This Claire's 947 email address was the same email address she used back in school when she was in college to register for her classes. And later on that day, she makes another purchase. Mama is gonna shop. She decided that she needed or deserved a little bit more retail therapy, and she swiped card 1 at the retailer that she had shopped at first. And this total was $969.47. Now, over the next 2 days, both cards are used. She does a bit more shopping. On card 1, she makes a charge of $2,005.80, another for $4,255.80, one for $4,159.85, and then another for $4,172.12. She really cut up that day. And this was all just card 1. On card 2, she made a purchase for $146.61 and turned right around and made another $2,000 purchase at this luxury retailer. And then she purchased another plane ticket for $315.92. I would think she would be flying first class, especially on somebody else's dime. But my girl was lighting Coach up, and there ain't nothing wrong with Coach. I'm just noticing some things. Now, before they move in with an indictment for our girl, they make sure that they have all of their ducks in a row. In addition to linking the email addresses together, they're able to trace the transactions to the Clermont's IP address. And the service provider has it registered right to Shannade Clermont, and it had been since May of 2016, the year before. Now, April 3rd, Shannade's email address, the one that has her first and last name together, received an email from a luxury store with the title or subject, Welcome James, and it provides instructions on how to log into their website using Shannade's personal email address. And then 3 days later, she had received another email from this luxury store saying, "Hey James, you've left some things in the cart." You know how they do. Pressure you to go on and check out before they're gone. And it appeared that Shannade had used these different email addresses for several different purposes. So the Shannade Clermont at, I'm assuming, gmail.com. I don't know if that's it, y'all. I don't know. Don't go emailing that girl. That one was mainly for the purchases that she made. She used that strictly for all of her online shopping and purchases. Email 2, Aubrey.cl, had been used for her soliciting dates. Paid dates. My girl said work ain't honest, but it pays the bills. May 10th of 2017, she used that email address to respond to an online ad titled Handsome White for a Sexy Black. And she sent interested $500 for 1 to 2 hours, text me. Now, I personally didn't know this is how internet cookies work. In addition to her accounts being each other's recovery accounts, they were also able to be linked to one another by web cookies. Because the cookies can tell if you are accessing different accounts in the same internet browsing session. So when we be using different emails, girl, to use that coupon code, again and again, they be knowing if you turn the cookies on. You got to turn the cookies off. You can't accept the website cookies because they might be on to you. The coupon code might not work. I can think of a couple of times I got now that I know what's going on. But her web cookies reveal an additional 4 email accounts that she had been using. And this is where things get a little weird. Well, weirder. The first one is Shan Clermont. A second is Clermont Twins. The third is XXX Erotica Doll XXX. And then the fourth was an email address that she created posing as James. And it had his last name, Alessi.James96. Now, at this point, with all of the things they got against her, they go ahead and obtain that warrant for her arrest, and they continue to dig deeper into her online activity. They found out that using this fake James account, she had been posing as him to wire herself money. The fake email address had been created on April 3rd of 2017, 2 whole months after his death, and right in the midst of her shopping spree, and she used it to register a new account with Western Union, of course in his name. The same day the account was created with Western Union, that email address received a confirmation from Western Union with tracking details for a $1,000 wire transfer from his second debit card to Shannade Clermont. Not only does it have her full name, it has her actual phone number and the recipient details. 10 minutes after that email came through, she forwarded the confirmation with all the details to her personal email address that has her first and last name. Now, this fake email account is also used to register on a site called gaybeasts.com, which is a site for inappropriateness with animals, if you catch my drift. And the username that she created for this account was not James's name, it was her alias. Aubrey C194 was the exact username. She also uses it to register an account on sugardaddyforme.com, and her username there was Exotic Doll 2017. Messy work. And they found the Exotic Doll email address being used on multiple sites like Sugar Daddy and ComeDateMe.com, sex work sites. When they round her up, she is hit with 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of aggravated identity theft, and a 3rd charge for access device fraud, which is like accessing devices that belong to another person. Shannade is taken into custody, and during her trial, she just pleads guilty. At her sentencing, James' sister spoke, alleging that the incident was all calculated in advance and done out of greed with malicious intent. And contrary to what the medical examiners had found, she felt like there was foul play involved at the hands of Shannade. And Shannade pushed back, saying that his family didn't know about his real lifestyle and the things that he was into, as far as him being a sugar daddy and taking care of her. And she also says that they knew that he had an issue with substances. He had been in and out of rehab for years. So it wasn't fair for them to try to pinpoint this OD on her. After her court proceeding, Shannade Clermont is sentenced to 1 year in prison. Now, a month before she was set to start her sentence, she sits down with her sister to do an interview with the Post in hopes to shed more light on the situation and like better her image and try to explain herself a little bit, because up until then the public perception was that she shook down a dead body and dipped and then went on a shopping spree. In the interview, she admits to taking his card information and using it, of course. She admits to paying her rent. She admits to buying a bunch of Valentino shoes, flights, a Philip Plein jacket, which I'm looking at the site right now and it's one on here for $8,600. $600. Another one for $6. That's a lot of money. She bought some Beats headphones and other small luxury items from different designer brands. And she says, quote, "He wasn't asleep when I left. He was just drunk. I have never been around people who have been on heavy drugs, so I didn't really know. It was like, oh, he was a drunk mess. I was annoyed. I thought he was playing games, so I just left." And she didn't find out that he wasn't playing games and that he really was in need of medical attention until much later. She says she never would have left him there if she knew that he was in need of medical attention. And she says that knowing that and not calling 911, but instead just running off with his cards is just sick, and that's something she never would have done. And she also says that she wants the world to know that she is a businesswoman with a strong work ethic and a genuine love of fashion and beauty, not some cold-hearted gold digger obsessed with fame and fortune like the media she felt portrayed her. Now another interesting quote from Miss Shannade. The thing was, he was known as a sugar daddy, very known. He was not like an innocent person. I mean, I didn't love him. I liked him. He was just someone who took care of me in an attempt to better her image. That's what she had to say. As far as her opinion on how the court proceedings went, she had something to say about that as well. She said that the judge had her mind made up when she walked into the courtroom, and all she kept talking about was like her social following and the need to use her as an example for all of these people who follow her. And even though she knew the judge wasn't really on her side, she said that her and her sister were completely blindsided when they heard the sentencing because she had been told by her lawyer that she would not serve any time, especially after opening up to the courts and telling them about her bouts of depression and how this whole thing has caused her to consider pulling her own plug and starting the Clermont Foundation to raise awareness for mental health. But the judge had actually spoken directly to that. She said when faced with a real test of character, Miss Clermont chose to leave the victim's apartment with his debit card information without calling 911. No foundation established after her arrest can account for that lack of character. Red Hufflepuff. Now, shortly after being taken into prison, Shannade hit the Clermont twins' social media accounts with pictures of herself and an update and a message to her fans. I'm going to read it for you. It says, "Hey everyone, just wanted to thank you all for the endless support and love. It means a lot to me to be growing through all this with the unconditional love I get from you guys. This journey hasn't been easy, but I'm thankful to know that I'm going on my 6th month and soon it will just be another chapter to my story. God has a funny way of testing our faith, but I'm doing his time." Girl, you doing the Fed's time. "I just want to let all the people that look up to us know that even though they are going through something hard or has done something in the past, to know that it doesn't define you as a person. It's about how you pull out of the situation and change as a person. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. God will tell you, and that's the only person that matters through it all. The prison pictures eat. I ain't gonna lie, she look good. She don't look dusty. She all moisturized." Her sister Shannon followed her message with a message of her own saying, quote, "That is Nade's real hair, period. Ain't no lace ponytail, bitch." Child. In the meantime, the free sister, Shannon, found different ways to bring in revenue while her sister was locked up using her social media presence and not that. She sold t-shirts posing as her sister, like doing a mugshot with their catchphrase, "That bitch," and the shirts were $60. I think you probably could still get one. Shannade did her year. She was reunited with her sister and they got right back to working on their goals of to one day own and operate their own fashion house. Now in 2021, they did this video. They sat down on YouTube, did this video saying Clermont twins tell all, baby, they told nothing. Okay, they ain't say nothing. I watched it, so you don't have to. They got into a little bit of the Bad Girls Club stuff, but with the terms and conditions of their lawsuit, they weren't even able to get into like the realty behind that. So, and since then, they have just been making money on social media. They've worked a lot. They did speak about Kim like still supporting them, but not being able to really go into details and really talk about that. So I guess she's still giving the girls work and they just doing other odd jobs and whatever else they do for money. You know, I ain't never mad. Like I said, I'm a true believer in autonomy, okay? And I want to know what y'all's thoughts are down below. So let me know, leave a comment, like the video if you have not, subscribe to the channel if you have not. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. They are the youngest of 5 total siblings. They have an older brother and 2 older sisters. Girl, I'm getting their life all wrong. That is not what they got. It's something that she was able to bond with them over. She would take them to fashion shows. Did I say fashion? I did. And had landed them gigs along the side. And this leads them to land a contract to for agency castings. No, for agency castings. So both girls go and pursue. Let me stuttering. Stutter. Both girls, the other girls in the house to fight them. Like they verbally She uses car 1 to go do some online shopping at a luxury shop. I can't talk. On this same day, March 29th, she whips out car 1. Email 2, Aubrey.cl had been used it. What? I be pronouncing it like that, like this ain't my first language. That's crazy. And they continue to dig deeper into her online activity. Girl, now that I missed my mode, now I got, oh well. Now that same day that it was a month before she is set to start her sentence, she said,